I'm Timeform's flat editor, David Johnson, so it won't come as too much of a surprise that my best bets this weekend are coming at Newbury and Doncaster. Now, I've got no real view on the futurity at the prices. Wembley, he sets the standard on the Timeform ratings, and you could argue that these conditions should suit him even better than 7 furlongs. The step up to a mile will be in his favour, and he's entitled to take a fair bit of beating. I'd be interested to see how McGallen gets on. I thought he shaped well in the Autumn Stakes last time after meeting a bit of trouble, and I do think he'll get a bit closer to one ruler than he managed last time. McGallen's form actually ties in with my first bet at Doncaster, and that's Jumby, who I really fancy in the nursery at 3:30. Thought Jumby was impressive when making a winning debut at Ascot back earlier in the season. Now that form has worked out pretty well, and I think he's had excuses for not building on it since. I thought he did especially well in the Haynes, Hanson and Clark at Newbury last time. He ended up too far back in a steadily run race, but did finish well, and it was an eye-catching effort from him that. This is going to be his nursery debut. It's a mark of 91, and I think that underestimates him. He's going to have a bigger field here. I think the stronger pace, or the likely stronger pace, should play to his strengths. And William Buick on board, who is still bidding to win his first jockey's title, so I don't think he'll be lacking for anything in the saddle. And I'd basically have him favourite over the recent winners, Conservatoire and Sir Maxi. My other two bets are coming at Newbury, where conditions are going to be a lot more testing, I think. So I'm concentrating on a couple that are proven in those conditions. The first bet is going to be in the St Simon Stakes at 4:10. Now, this looks a strange market to me. The first two in the betting, I think, look very beatable. Raymond Tusk, he hasn't been seen since January, and his best form has come on quicker ground and over further. I'm just wondering if this is actually a prep for an all-weather winter campaign, and he might actually need the run to a certain extent. Yukon Glen, he's second in, but has a penalty for winning the Cumberland Lodge at York, and that race rather fell apart with Logician not giving his running. I think this race could be ripe for an upset, and the one that I liked is Natural History. Now, he was a progressive 3-year-old. He had 2 years off the track after that, but he's come back this year better than ever. He's won both of his starts, including when we saw him last at Goodwood, and that was by 3 1/4 lengths that he beat Hyana. Crucially, it came on heavy ground, and I think that could count for a lot, like I say, under these conditions. He's definitely got something to find on form, but he's absolutely thriving at the moment. And I think it's interesting that his stable run him here, even though that they've already got Alunak in there. And they're happy to risk his handicap mark rather than saving for something like the November handicap. My other bet comes in the 4:45. Again, this is a 1.25 mile handicap. And again, it looks a good betting race because I'm not convinced about those at the head of the betting. Tempest, obviously still progressive, but does he really want to slog over 1.25 miles? I'm not so sure. Surrey Pride, he's not proven in the conditions either, and I do worry slightly about him getting too far back if conditions are still really testing. A Shark is the one that I like. He is running over 1.25 miles on heavy ground, and I think they might be just about his optimum conditions. I think his recent second at York last time is arguably the best recent form in the race. He was beaten by Ilarab that day, and Ilarab was completing the 5-timer, so is basically one of the most progressive 3-year-old handicappers around. Aasheq, he's up £5, but I still think he's well treated on last year's form, and we've got Jim Crowley taking the ride as well, who replaces the injured David Allen, and that certainly doesn't look a negative. So a Shark to cause a little bit of an upset in the 4:45 against the two more fancy ones.